Welcome back to Minus 16, the tech podcast where we talk not only the business and tech, but also YouTube as well. And as ever, there's plenty to get into. We're going to be looking at One UI 7. I think Daniel's got a fair bit to chirp in about that. He's been churning out videos by the hundreds this week on it, so I'm guessing he's got something to say. And Alex, I think, is swimming in various Android devices and doesn't know which one to cover first. So we're going to be talking about
which
pressures
one to
that
turn
come.
the do not disturb on.
So yeah, as things grow and suddenly there's more pressure to turn out content whilst not dropping your quality levels, that's all to come in this episode of Minus 16. Chaps, how are you keeping?
Busy. I think Alex and I have both been churning the vids out this week, haven't we?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm going on holiday in a few days, so I'm going back home to Brazil. I say home, even though I've been in the UK more than I've been in Brazil now. But yeah, going there on Wednesday, I think. So absolutely.
And how long are you gone for?
Almost a month, which is fantastic. Yeah, it's going to be a bit tough on school because my son will have to do some schooling from there. But it's been 6 years, so really looking forward to it. Will be awesome to visit family and obviously head to the beach.
So what
showcase my bikini skills and stuff.
Do it, yes, yeah. That beach body, is it ready? Is Brazil ready for it?
No, he's always been ready, mate. He's always been ready.
So, Daniel, should we get into One UI? Because I know we're part of this group chat on WhatsApp, and I saw there's quite a few messages. What's happening? Is it in? What's going on with it? So I know there's been a fair bit of discussion about it, and it was hotly anticipated. And obviously, Alex will be using on many of his devices too. So Daniel, give us the rundown. What's going on with it?
There's a lot to go through because we can go all the way back to last year in October. There's Samsung also do a developers conference, by the way. It's not just Apple. Samsung have STC. Also, I think they do it in San Jose or in San Francisco in that sort of area. And there, last year, they announced One UI 7. But they were very light on details. They showed a couple of key pillars over what they wanted One UI 7 to be. But then that was it. There was like a almost delay that they announced because normally it would be released at the end of last year, but then they've delayed it. And then you fast forward to the start of this year with the S25 and One UI 7 launched officially on the S25. It was the first phone to officially get it, even though the S24 had started its beta program. Now, here's where things start to get a bit murky because as the beta program for One UI 7 kept progressing on the S24 series, it started adding features that aren't even on the S25 yet. So a beta version of One UI 7.
Am I the only one who lost any?
Oh my! You got me?
Yeah, we're all good.
Yeah. So the beta program on S24 had better features than what the new flagship S25 did with its final version of One UI 7. Anyway, now the final version is starting to roll out globally. I think it started in Korea a couple days ago and is starting to now finalize itself everywhere else. That same problem exists. And I did a video today that's going up on Sunday about the comparison of the performance, and the S24 Ultra performed better with audio eraser, with log video recording and exporting. It was much faster on S24 versus S25. So there's like this whole thing with One UI 7 at the moment. The delay was one thing, but I think the fact that the S25 hasn't got the final version of One UI 7, it's not optimized properly. I think that's, for me, what's probably the most concerning part is that Samsung released almost a beta version of software on their final product at the start of the year. Even though it was running good and no one sort of complained, now that we're seeing the final version, you can go, we're seeing now that Samsung messed this up a bit. Not just a bit, massively.
And what would have been their rush for that then? Why would they have been pushing to release it?
So I think at Samsung Developer Conference, they said that One UI 7 will launch with the next flagship, which is the S25. So I don't know why they would have had to maybe felt the need to rush it, but they delayed it and they probably had to have something ready for the flagship phone. If they released One UI 6 on S25, it would have been carnage in the tech community, as we already see how people sort of treat Samsung versus how they treat Apple. You can imagine it just would have been all over. S25 almost would have been DOA for the loyalists. So there might have been that feeling to put One UI 7 on there, whatever form or state it was in. But the fact that they probably then knew that there were going to be features they were going to beta test later on, I don't know why there just hasn't been a software update to roll out at the same time to fix this, because this still hasn't got the update with the better features. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of confusing to me. I'm confused.
Are you on One UI 7 yet, Alex?
So on the S25 Ultra, yes, 'cause that came with that, right? But the S24 Ultra, I was excited because I saw some updates saying, yeah, it's going to launch this week, and I went to do it, and I noticed my phone actually was expanding at the back.
You were just mentioning that.
So we've got
yes.
a bit of a hardware issue on my device. I don't know. It could be self-inflicted because I think it was end of summer last year. I took it to the beach, and
you did those wave shots, didn't you?
He went into contact with salt water. It's not really good for smartphones. But it took a couple of months for charging to be back to normal. But for a while, I couldn't even charge it with a cable. It would only work if it was wired wirelessly. So I knew that bit was me because you shouldn't really put it in salt water. But yeah.
Notes to self.
I now noticed that I took it out of a case, and I was going to sell it, to be honest, because I'm now fully on the S25 Ultra, and I noticed that it wasn't too. It was thinner than a credit card width, right? It was very
minor.
You can see it's elevated a little bit, and it could be anything. But I thought I contacted Samsung, and to be fair, they were within minutes, right? Don't charge your phone because it could be battery. We'll pick it up and we'll take it from there. So they picked it up yesterday. We'll see what happens.
With everything that went on with the Note 7, they have to be super vigilant when it comes to battery. For those on the audio listeners, I did the sign of the cross when I said Note 7.
Yes, rest in peace.
It's a thing that I do now.
Yeah.
So we spoke at the top of the episode, Alex, that you're kind of swimming in devices. Your daily is your S25, yeah?
Definitely, yeah. That is my go-to. I think end of last year, I tried to daily the iPhone 16 Pro, and I did that as almost as an experiment to see, is the Apple ecosystem everything that people really say it is? I had a suspicion, but you don't really get to experience it until you fully embed yourself in that. So I did that for a month, and I kept using the iPhone here and there as a comparison. I did a great comparison actually with the S25 Ultra recently, and answered some of my questions honestly. That in some cases the iPhone is better. In some situations, it just, it was almost like black and white situations. But overall, for my use, I just get so much out of it. Whatever device, I'm now just counted earlier, some of which are mine, some are old devices, like the Sony Xperia is now almost a year old. Obviously, got the Fold 6 here. So there's some devices that I've bought myself and I have, but I counted as 14 devices. Just smartphones alone, we're not counting tablets or anything else. All to either review or do long-term updates and things like that. So in a way, I'm really happy because I don't have any like writer's block right now. I've got enough content to create for 2 years. But be careful what you wish for, I guess, is the lesson I'm learning, because in the past I would be like contacting brands and say, hey, can you send me this phone? And I just saw it. Now phones are turning up almost without request and say, hey, there's an embargo in 2 days. Can you cover it? It's like, I love to, and it's awesome to be in their mind in a way that you feel a little bit privileged, right? Because it's like, oh my gosh, the brand is wanting me to be part of this launch. On the other hand, the reality is, as a solo creator almost, I was at 3:30 a.m. this morning, I was uploading a video to YouTube, and it's just like having to get up at 7:30 again. So be careful what you wish for, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're going to obviously get into sort of the business side of it a little bit later on, but when brands begin pushing you that hard to give you next to no, well, and also it reflects in how much detail you can go into about a device, doesn't it? If you only give
There's one example, it was just bad management. I have a feeling that, just being honest with myself, I don't think I was in the first wave of people to contact. So someone must have dropped out. Oh yeah, we've got Alex, send him that device and he'll do something. So I had a day and a bit, and it was like, okay, well, I did a lot of research and I actually took the phone out. So I think one of the things that I try not to compromise, I definitely compromised on quality. There's no question about it. I forgot to record the B-roll for the display. At 2 a.m., I was on my sofa editing and I recorded the B-roll with the phone. which I hate doing. I feel horrible for doing it because, that's not my style. I do pride myself for taking my time with the B-roll and making sure that what I put in front of the screen, in front of my viewers, is as good as I can get. I'm sure there's better out there and there's much better kind of filmmakers out there, but I try my best with what I've got, with what I know. So filming with a smartphone at 2 a.m. on a sofa is not my proudest moment, but
I just saw it this morning, just before we started recording, so I haven't obviously had a chance to watch it yet, but I will be watching it a little bit later on. And
you'll see the difference. It's a shit video. Quality. I mean, the product is great. The thing is, it's a great product. It's where is it? It's a 249 quid phone that has 120 hertz display. It's got 5,000 milliamp battery, more.
$250, 250 quid.
Yes, it's crazy.
I saw the thumbnail because I did smile, thinking it looks very iPhone, doesn't it, on the back?
It looks very suspicious. And the zoom, I'll put a B-roll somewhere, but yeah, it's basically an iPhone-looking device.
Yeah, I saw the thumbnail and thought, hello.
It's got the camera button even, it's like, I complain about the camera button so many times, and they could have made it closer to where your finger is, but it's still where the iPhone one is.
They copied the worst parts of it.
Yeah, but anyway, and it's got dynamic island as well. So, I mean, I see the appeal, but it's awesome. I mean,
your autofocus has taken a dump as well.
Okay, I'll fix that. Talk amongst yourselves.
And also I wanted to talk about log on the S25 because that's a new feature this year. I obviously haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but is that available is it a software lock just to the S25, or can users get it on S24?
They just, with One UI 7, brought it to the S24 series as well. So S24, S24 Plus, S25 Ultra have all got it. I really like it. I really like the option. I have it set on by default for the S25 Ultra that I use. For every sort of video that I capture is log, and then I'll deal with the color correction later. Even if it's just the color correction on the phone, I'd rather have it recorded in log first because it will sort of save the dynamic range and higher points of dynamic range versus normal recording. So yeah, I just leave it on and I deal with the pain of it later.
Massive files like we got. I mean,
no, they're not that much bigger than
they're using
HEVC.
Right.
I'll give you an example if I can find.
Was that the Samsung log?
Yeah, we were just talking about log.
Mate, it's way easier to manipulate in the edit, even using Final Cut Pro. I use my Sony LUTs on it, and there's, I'd say, 10-15% of change that I have to adjust. But it's almost a like for like.
So Samsung haven't released their own LUTs for it yet?
Not that you can download, but there is one on the phone. You can hit correct color.
Right, yeah.
Which is just it's a conversion to it converts it to Rec 709 basically. To that color space. But I spoke to Samsung about this.
I was saying 1 minute video is 800 meg, roughly.
Yeah. So nothing.
They're quite heavy still, but not as heavy as it could be. I was chatting to Samsung unofficially. They said, "Well, we can't really give you a detailed answer, but the PR friendly version was the edit. The Studio app that you can edit footage in, and I think you can now like chunk 10 clips in there and it will generate. It will do like a short video for you without using things like CapCut, which is really good. But in the app, they said that they will continue to develop it, almost hinting at, and this is me saying, not them, but my kind of reading between the lines is in the app, they will have the opportunity for you to upload your own LUT. That's awesome. What they kind of said. They didn't say with those words that this is me, but they said something that watch out for that app in terms of updates in what it relates to LUTs. So read that, kind of as you will, but I read that as, you'll be able to do it.
Awesome. I mean, I've all the cutaway shots in my main videos, that's all recorded on the 16 Pro Max in log, ProRes log. And I go for the maximum file size. They are huge. They're they record directly to an SSD. But again, color grading now, I kind of sit here in Final Cut before, is that close enough? And I know it's only me. You know, you guys, you know what it's like. You sit here obsessing about the tiniest little bit of hue and saturation, and it's close enough. No one's ever said, that's a car crash. They're two different cameras.
No,
it's near
for
enough.
me, I think it's for a few seconds, it's more than okay for most videos that we do in tech. But I don't know, when there's something that, you know, a phone is going to be it's going to be hard to do, right? Which is kind of replicate what a real lens, you know, a real glass will do, which is, you know, that depth, that even the it's not the depth so much, but, you know, the distortions that you get with the lens. There's something about it that it just looks like it was done with a lens. I think the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, I haven't tried the Vivo yet, but the Vivo apparently is the closest you can get today to a real camera. But I don't know, you can still tell that even if the colors are amazing, you can still tell it's not a camera.
I mean, Daniel, you're going to be in the prime position because the first 18 months you were purely recording everything S23, S24. Then you made the move this year to your A6 700. And you will be talking just before Alex joined us. I mean, you said, yeah, you can absolutely now tell better sensor, proper camera. Yeah, you can tell the difference. There's no going back for you. You're happy with the setup you've got.
No, I think the A-roll and B-roll, I make a conscious effort now to really use the cameras for everything. The phone will be great in a pinch, and especially outdoors and at close distance. It creates that depth of field. It's got enough sharpness and detail. But there's nothing that, for me, beats the cleanness of a proper lens, or a proper camera. Like the sensors on those, this is just, I don't know, a sharpness, a crispness to them. It's almost like a crisp bed sheet in a hotel. It's just
good simile, yeah,
perfect, right? Whereas a phone one, you could kind of see a little bit of the grain. It's like, oh, it's a 4-star motel versus a 5-star sort of resort. Like you can really tell the difference in that output. Most people will just glance at it and be like, yeah, great, I can see what's happening. But it's like when you really want to enjoy it and be entertained by it, you can really start to sort of appreciate the improvement that a real camera can make.
So that's kind of, we were going to chat about this anyway. It's a nice point to begin getting into the weeds with it. Once you've, say, got yourself a decent camera, I know, Alex, you're on the A7?
Right now is the FX3, but just behind me somewhere is the A7S3, which I was using for 2-3 years probably.
So is this question, when is good enough? Say if you made that, say somebody's starting out a channel, because I know a lot of people listening to minus 16 that are,
it's never good enough.
Thank you for the subs. It really does make a difference. We just wanted to say that. It does make a huge difference, and that's why we all managed to get together today to make sure still every 2 weeks we are here. So yeah, it's kind of, say somebody's started off the channel on a smartphone, then they get to a camera. And I was just saying, I'm still using the Canon 90D that I bought from you. That's what I'm on right now. So when do I decide I'm really taken with this new Canon Power? Daniel was like, man, there's this new Canon PowerShot V1. It's kind of a vlogging camera. I'm looking at it and it's something I really want. But then it's a really close mate of mine who did cinematography at university said, mate, you don't need it. You look fine on the screen. Save the money. But
yeah.
I was always saying, when, with that 16E I bought recently, it's like, well, should I just save the money on buying a smartphone predominantly for the camera and just buy a frigging camera, keep a cheap phone just for, getting the other shots and snaps when I need it, and go and buy a camera?
I mean, my experience is not even so much about the camera anymore, because the cameras are so good now. I mean, as Daniel said, those sensors are incredible. It's coming down to a point now where you might want a specific body for the look that sensor gives you. Like some people get Fuji, some people get this really like Panasonic, to get a specific different look, like not like the Sony or the Canon, which is very clinical, very realistic. So people are going for this style, which is different. For me, for what we do especially, I think the body is no longer, I mean, I could carry on with my A7S3 for another 2 years at least, but what I would invest in is a new lens. There's never
just about
enough
to say that.
I'd say, and for you, David, it's the same. I'd say before you think about upgrading the camera, try a new lens.
Better
Because I
glass.
think you've got that 24 mil is probably the pancake
on
lens,
now,
right?
yeah. That's it. Yeah,
it's not it's probably the cheapest lens you can get, and it's the one that I got, I think, for like to really get going.
Mm-hmm.
But I you know, this lens is a 24 mil, the one I'm using right now, and it's, you know, way it's one of those that was in my basket for at least a year. Is a GM sort of lens from Sony. You know, you get what you pay for sometimes, you know. But even within the same sort of focal distance and the same sort of, you know, 24 mil, you know, this one versus a pancake lens from Canon, there's a huge difference. Just because it's better
maybe I
glass,
should think
better
of going that
build.
route. Yeah.
Well, that's what I did. I had the CVE10, but I attached this $1,400 Australian Sony 16 to 55 mil lens on it, and that changed the camera exponentially. So, like, I could have survived with that camera had the battery life not been so terrible, but because I needed more battery, I just got a second A6700. I think the main reason to upgrade or change gear is really just if you start finding pain points and inefficiencies in your current setup that new gear would solve. So if there's an inefficiency that you're finding with the gear you're using, and a new camera would solve that, then I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to hold you back. But if that inefficiency and that gear won't solve it, just do a bit more research. Like Alex said, a lens might fix the problem that you're having, because the lens, honestly, I never really put much stock into it, but it's so true what Alex was saying about lenses. They really do change the camera.
Lighting, and then lens, probably in that order. Yeah. Because people can put up with you know, like lower quality video if the audio is clean, if the lighting is good. I have some terrible examples. You just need to go back 5 years to my channel and look at my first few videos. I had all of those things wrong to start with. But, you know, you've got to, and I love the fact that I exhausted, as Daniel was saying, I exhausted everything that I had, and I kind of almost reluctantly invested on stuff, especially at the beginning, because it was like, I'm not making money with this. So, you know, every money that was my personal, it was basically just, you know, negative for the business. So, definitely kind of exhaust and learn, right? Because when you buy gear, even using your phone, you learn about photography and some basics that will be very valuable when you do upgrade, when you do get a bit of gear.
Yeah,
like
the getting the reps in.
Yeah, even doing things like white balance. I never thought of doing white balance for the first 2 years. And you can tell if you go to my videos, as soon as the light changes slightly, it's like, what the hell? Why is everything is yellow? Now every shot,
today,
not even every shot, but several times a day, I have to use the card to set the white balance properly, because it changes. Oh, it's right here in front of me. It's one of these things.
Yeah,
this is probably the tool, one of those tools that so I use this side here, point it to the camera, tell it that's, you know, the reference, and everything that's white is going to be white. But if you don't do it, if you use an auto balance, especially in natural light, you're going to get into trouble, and I have.
I mean, I'm regretting it today because as you know, Alex, we are experiencing the most beautiful spring weather at the moment. I mean, it's up to about 21 today. It's stunning. Yeah. I've got blackout curtains. So my white balance is always constant, but I am missing the day, which I am sadly regretting. I know just that side of that blackout curtain, there's a beautiful day out there, and I can see jack shit of it, which is a bit of a shame.
But you see, because you're in the UK, beautiful days are very rare. Whereas I
will take that on the chin.
I have a beautiful day here, just on a Tuesday. So like it's whatever.
Yeah, I know. And apparently it takes a tank tomorrow. So I'm spending the last day of glorious sunshine talking to you beautiful humans behind black curtains. But I think, you now know that my weekend is going to be looking at lenses for the Canon, don't you? You know that's now going to be my next obsession. I obsess about something. Last weekend, Lightroom was my big obsession. I spent ages. I found a really good creator, and I spent ages and ages and ages learning more about Lightroom. And the thumbnail that's just gone up on today's video, actually, there was so many different effects in Lightroom on that. I mean, there was, honestly, it took me forever. But anyway, it's always something that nerding about. But glass, I think, is probably, I hadn't thought that this body is probably good enough, and look at glass to go on it.
And definitely look at Sony as well, because, you know, for what we do, it's just, as Daniel said, you know, there's stuff that on that Canon specifically that you have to do to to keep it going, right? And I know you're much better than me, at least, that you don't need a script, so your recording time is probably less than mine when you go for a session. If I'm recording a 10-minute video, it's a 45-minute long A-roll, because I will mess up and I will repeat myself several times. So I know
you don't
that
want to
Canon
know what my
would
recording was yesterday.
Go on, tell us what.
So my video that went up last night is 9 minutes long, and I recorded for 12 minutes.
Yeah, that's
the presenter. That's your old day job coming in, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 100%.
Yeah.
So the best I do is under pressure. So yesterday, my wife had to come pick myself up, and my son was here with me. So we were kind of going for dinner after this. When she got here, I was still at the beginning of that on our video. So under pressure, I think I did record the entire 10-minute video in about 17 minutes. But you can tell I'm rushing. You can tell I'm not paying attention to what I'm saying. It's a terrible video.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, it's my radio background that carries me, without a doubt, because obviously suddenly if something goes wrong, you've got to fill air. And so I think the ability to be able to talk meaninglessly for minutes on end does have its bonus.
I think that's the thing. I can probably chat. I mean, if I was down the pub with you, I'd probably have a nice conversation, but I'll probably be repeating myself. I'll be forgetting stuff. Without the script, I am absolutely useless.
In front of a camera, everything changes. Because I know we've briefly talked about this in past episodes, but just going through how we all go about it. So, Daniel, I think you're a notes person off camera, aren't you? You've kind of got notes and bullet points, yeah?
Yep.
Yep.
Or just sometimes the title. That's enough for me.
You can just free roll from a title alone.
Sometimes
if I tell the story, ABC, and
because I just work it out in my head, the structure. And again, it goes back to my presenting days, and then I just kind of carry myself through that. It's not the prettiest, but editing is magic. It can make a turd look fantastic. So I always just go, I'm like, I'll fix this in the edit. Like, I'll cut the gaps close together. I'll sharpen it up. I'll zoom in for effect, and I'll just change. Like, it changes a lot for me.
So you haven't got a teleprompter, because you haven't got a teleprompter at all yet, have you?
No, not yet.
So
studio
when you
maybe.
and get studio, yeah.
It's on the cards, yeah.
Yeah. And Alex, where are you at? Because I think you are using the teleprompter
right now. I'm using one. Yeah.
Yeah, and you use it with a kind of a script of some kind, don't you, for your A-roll?
Yeah. So it's a Glide Gear one. It's very popular on Amazon. Right now I've got a little iPad here, so you can see I'm looking.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah.
The browser from the Mac is going in here, and then is upside down, so I can see. So I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking at you in the eyes, which makes it more engaging, I guess. But for my videos, and this would be good for like live stream sessions, which I rarely do these days. But for my videos, instead of the iPad, it will be either the Fold or some bigger device with my teleprompter app, which recognizes my voice. So as I speak, it will go. Yeah. So and I've learned quite early on that, it's like just watching my own videos back then, I knew consciously, oh my God, I do sound like a robot. So I learned to kind of leave gaps, and I do free roll sometimes, and I allow that in the script. But yeah, you won't see me kind of doing this all the time, but that's what I'm doing sometimes, to kind of pause it or whatever, reaching over. And I like to as well to repeat myself. So I record the entire A-roll almost as a voiceover sometimes, and then I will pick sections of that A-roll to record somewhere else. So that in the edit,
I knew that's what you did. I was like, I'm sure he's recording both of them and then doing it again outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a day like this, it seamlessly can meld together when you edit it. Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah, and sometimes if the day is not as good as it's today, or if I haven't got time, I'll just go somewhere else in the studio and do exactly the same. Just re-record myself. Sometimes doing the thing that I'm talking about. Yeah, it just adds. I don't know where I learned this. I watched a guy years ago saying, if you're shy in front of the camera, try to think that you're just recording a voiceover, and it will sound more natural because you're not worrying in your head. It's a weird thing, but in your head you go, oh, my face is not going to be on this anyway. So you just talk more naturally.
The camera changes everything. I think unless you stand in front of the camera and try to talk, you don't realize just how much it takes getting used to. It's such an awkward thing to sit in front of and be natural.
Also, it was a proud moment yesterday. I'm not sure if that's what he wants to do, but my son was here yesterday, and I said to him, "Can you just hold the card here so I can set up the white balance?" Because usually I just get like my coffee cup and I put it here. So anyway, he held here, and he noticed that the script was there, so he started reading it, and And I thought I'll just press record and hopefully he won't notice it. He carried on and he read the entire intro and the first 2 paragraphs of the video. And I said, just hold it there, carry on. And he's just reading it and making fun of it. It's like, no mistakes. No, I was like, oh.
Freaking youth.
That's the future. I'm like, I'll just get him to do that and I'll just be his editor.
Now, I don't know where you guys stand on this. If I've got an integrated spot on a video, something I've taught myself, and no one told me this, was that's the only time I 100% script and read off of the tape. So if they come back on their first edit and say, oh, can you change that? I know that I can just change that tiny little bit of dialogue and it's going to fit exactly within that time frame still. It saves so much time.
I think
do you script on sponsors?
Yes.
Yeah, for me, it's just a part of the video for me. So for the thing with sponsors is it depends on the actual agreement as well, right? Sometimes it's one of those, it's a non-exclusive integration, so you can't really do that with every sponsor that is on that video. So it might have 2 or 3 in the same video if it's like an accessories or whatever.
Yeah.
But the trick is, and I think Patrick was very good at this. He said, early days, like, well, just send him the kind of the outline of the video and the script. But I'm always very clear to say, right, just check for factual errors, right? If I'm mentioning that is a 5,200 milliamp battery and is 5,000, 5,100, then obviously that's an error, fix that. But I'm not changing what I say about the product, right? And if, even brands that don't pay sometimes, they're a bit cheeky and said, oh, before you publish this video, can we have a look at it? And I said, yeah, you're more than welcome to have a look at it, but I'm not changing it. So there are kind of different types of brand engagements that you have. I won't mention the brand, but yeah, last week I had a video that was pretty decent, beefy video, not paid, but the brand wanted to see it. And I get it. I get the fact that sometimes you might use I don't know, sometimes it's for safety as well. If you swear in the video or whatever. So it takes time to build that trust. Like with Samsung, for example, they never ask to see anything before it goes live. Never, which is awesome. And I could be doing some really dodgy stuff in my videos. They haven't. Obviously, if I do that, they'll probably break it. But they never asked to see it. They never commented on it. They never, did anything to say, "Hey, Alex, we didn't like what you did there." And in my, what was it, the Tab S10 Fan Edition, I do criticize it a little bit there. No issues.
And you were saying, Daniel, you do script on your integrated.
Yeah, I had one this week on Wednesday's video, and I sent the sponsor the integration only because they're like, "Oh, can you send us the unlisted YouTube link?" And I said, "No, I'm just going to send you a OneDrive link to the integration only."
Yeah.
And fortunately, the script was done, and there was an issue. I said they gave me a discount code, and I just said TWB. I didn't say TWB 25. So I'm like, ugh. So they're like, "Oh, can you re-record that bit?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm not re-recording."
Those are annoying as well,
because that's like a whole A-roll talking to camera where I've got to just account for literally half a second. Yeah. So I did some screen recording of me using my discount code on their website, and then plopped that over the top and just re-recorded the voiceover for the discount code. It does not in any way match the tone of voice that I had before. Like, it is so off. I was so monotone. I was like, and use the discount code TWB25. Like, it was completely off. But then they saw it and they were fine with it. So I was like, sweet, thank God.
It's a good point though, because for people watching on TV, and as we know, there's more and more people watching our videos on TV, right? Having those links early on really helps in the edit, because you can then use a QR code, right, in the edit. Some brands, though, the majority of them hold the link. They won't give you the link until they see the video. It's like, just give me the link so I can actually put it in the video.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's funny. I had a sponsored section in last week's video, and it's like with continuity. So I was wearing a particular shirt, and I thought I had it nailed by Wednesday. And honestly, Wednesday night they came back and said, "No, there's one tiny little thing," and it was me speaking to a mate on a webcam. and you'll see us laughing. It's me saying, obviously, I've knocked out the auto. This shirt fucking hums. I've had it on now for 4 days, and I threw it in the washing machine last night, thinking I'm done. It can finally be. And I woke up that morning. There's one. Oh shit! I've got to go and get it. It was absolutely humming.
I really don't care about those. I mean, I still
try to do continuity, but
you can't. I don't think people know. I don't think people care that much. But I appreciate the effort. But bloody hell, I can't.
They'll think about it for a microsecond.
Yeah,
and they maybe will post a quip in the comment section, but there won't be any outcry or anything like that.
What people will
Agreed.
absolutely 100% comment on, and sometimes I do it on purpose, is wearing a particular watch when you're reviewing something completely.
I was going to say a cap watch. They pick up on the watch.
Like if you're reviewing an iPhone and you're wearing a Samsung watch, or if you're reviewing a Samsung phone and you're wearing an Apple Watch, they care.
Absolutely, yeah. On my 16 Pro versus S25 Ultra, people who never watch my channel don't know me, right? So they probably don't realize that I don't, it's not really that serious. But a lot of people commented, it's like, I knew the outcome during the intro because they saw me wearing the Galaxy watch.
Yeah, eyes
Even
everywhere.
though later down the video, I'm wearing both watches. So yeah.
Samuel Nam cops that. He cops that a lot. He wears his Apple Watch in his videos, and he reviews the Samsung phone. He's like, "Oh, bro, reviewing Samsung while wearing an Apple Watch." I'm like, "Mate, go outside and take a breath." Like, seriously, if that's what you're bothered by in life. Honestly, anyway, iPhones are going to cost $30,000 soon anyway. Tariffs.
Let's cover tariffs. Well, sort of. Let's not get too political here, but who's going to run with this one? Who's got the best take on it? Who's got the grip on it?
I don't.
Okay. Daniel, you brought it up. It's on you. Go.
Oh, dear. Look,
our political expert in Australia.
I'm not a political expert by any means.
That was my terrible. I'll shut up.
We're going to make the best iPhones ever here in them. Anyway, I'm
wearing the MAGA
putting that very much to the side, like the MAGA, the Donald Trump. Let's just focus on the impact of the tariffs.
Yeah,
I guess you could
say.
Absolutely.
Like he puts it out there. I have to say something. He puts it out there, and then tells everyone to buy stock, and then pauses the tariffs. Anyway, China still have the tariffs in place, and that's where Apple manufacture and assemble all of their iPhones. So that is 100% still impacting them. But the fact is that they're going, let's bring iPhone manufacturing back to America. That is unreasonable.
Yeah,
that is absolutely unreasonable.
It's going to look like a Nokia device.
Yeah, I mean, even if you had the luxury of 3, 4, 5 years in advance, him saying that's what's going to happen, I think even with that lead time, you'd be struggling to make everything in one country. All of them need to be able to diversify where their production's taking place. I know Apple have now moved a lot to India and I think Taiwan, but yeah, I mean, for a long time, of course, we know that, all of their stuff has come from, a lot of their stuff's come from China. It's going to have massive, as you say, for him to be that naive to say, well, just make it in America. It ain't going to happen.
I think he's kind of stuck in a manufacturing mindset of America from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, where everything was made in America. Like there was lots of steel and they had lots of industry. But I think what's being ignored here is the globalization of the world. Everything is sourced from everywhere and everyone has strengths and weaknesses. I think I saw a clip of Tim Cook saying that China, you don't just manufacture in China because it's cheap labor. They are highly skilled at putting together attention to detail, and they have the right tools and precision instruments and precision industry in manufacturing
and
technology.
Raw materials, right? And
raw materials as well.
For batteries and stuff, yeah.
So possibly a naive question, Daniel, then, with Samsung being purely a Chinese company, right?
Korean.
Are they going to be hit even harder? Well,
hashtag cancelled.
So, sorry. Are they going to be hit even harder?
No, I think there's a Samsung manufacture majority of their phones in Vietnam, and there was tariffs put in place briefly before he paused all of the tariffs.
Now, isn't it? Yeah,
90-day pause after he tanked the stock market. I guess he panicked, or people made money, so he thought he'll bring tariffs. Anyway, again, Samsung manufacture mostly in Vietnam. Some of their manufacturing is done in Korea, in their homeland, and they've got manufacturing in India, so kind of like Apple. But those phones only get sold in India. You don't get a made in India Samsung somewhere else. Pretty much everywhere around the world, you get a made in Vietnam Samsung phone. And they did have tariffs, but now they don't. So at the moment, I don't know if there's going to be any impact to Samsung as yet. But with Apple and China, that's a huge problem.
Yeah. Well, they're talking possibly, iPhones doubling in cost, aren't they? Potentially going crazy money. And
well, didn't they fly like 5 plane loads worth of iPhones in just before the cutoff of the tariffs? Because if the stock's already in the country before the tariff was cut, you don't have that tariff put on the top. But if anything that's imported into America from after this point, they're going to have to pay, because this is another thing. It's like the tariffs aren't paid for by China. Apple will pay the tariff to the US government, and then
it's how much they can absorb. Yeah.
It's like, can they absorb it, or will they spread the cost? I did see a theory where they'll maybe spread the costs out across everywhere. So not just raise the prices in America, but raise the prices here in Australia, maybe raise the prices in the UK to try and make sure it's
balance
just hit in the US, to balance it out.
I also heard they're going to try and lean more into their services, so the ticket price of the iPhone won't necessarily go up as much, but they're going to try and maybe address that with the service. I don't know. I mean, every company's going to have to find a way of addressing this so as to not piss off their customers, because I'm sure most customers are going to understand that it's not the manufacturer that's being greedy. They're covering, they're a business. If they're being levied with 35% taxes, that's huge. Well, no company can be.
Something I noticed that was almost like a sideline, and I just, obviously, I've always been a little bit cynical about the whole, we're being green, and I think I got triggered by this in 2022, and I think was when two of the massive tech channels did a Android versus Apple thing, and they gave Apple.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah,
the green trophy or whatever. So Apple wins the green thing because they're so eco-aware or whatever. And then I think it was 2024 last year they did that whole Mother Nature thing.
Yeah.
If this, I haven't seen any confirmation that this 5 airplanes full of iPhones is true, but if that's true, it just proves, right? Well, I already kind of knew. It's like, you don't give a damn about the environment. Obviously you want those phones in there so you can cut, not pay tax and get as much profit as possible. It's a bit ironic that, they say
one
that they're
area
so green.
Where I will stand in their corner. I mean, I'm as cynical as the next man. Trust me. I've seen it all and don't believe most of what I hear and see. But the privacy thing, because there was a case a couple of weeks back that the UK government were trying to force Apple to let them have create this backdoor to not only our data but to worldwide data on iCloud. And Apple basically, they didn't bend over. They just said no, not doing it. They took advanced data protection off of the UK iPhones, and from what I can see, unless I'm being really green, they're actually, all jaundiced to one side. They're pretty serious about this idea. No, we're not going to give in to that. And also, it's brought them into problems the US apparently looking into something called the Cloud Act, which means that the UK government isn't allowed to interfere with US citizens' data. So it looks like it's getting messy. But early this week, Apple actually took the UK government to court and it got blocked. They said, because the UK government didn't want it to be public knowledge that they were asking for this. And Apple said, no, if we're going to do it, at least people should know that we're doing it. And the court said, yeah, fair enough.
That's good. That's admirable.
National security.
My understanding was that it was, I only looked at it, briefly, but it's as of, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months ago, whenever this was announced, right, it was news. It did look like Apple was saying, we'll just turn this thing off. So basically, if you're buying an iPhone in the UK, you will not be as protected as if you were in the US. So that's where we were. I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything recently on that.
Yeah, no, they've. I mean, they're having to do what the government asked them to do, but they're basically saying, no, we're not going to give you a backdoor access.
Which is good.
No matter how criminal you are, everybody's entitled to some. We know there's going to be nefarious users out there. Of course there is. No matter what you do.
Yeah, and if we look at again being cynical and probably bad mouthing the UK government, which is not a good thing to do here, so I'll be careful what I say, but. If you really want to do, criminal stuff, are you going to use an iPhone? Are you going to use like WhatsApp? You're not. You're going to use a Nokia device, right? A burner phone. Anyway.
Yeah. So YouTube, boys, something weird seems to be going on, wouldn't you say? Views
Yes,
seem, shall we
again.
politely say, erratic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Daniel, how are you finding things out there on YouTube Street?
I had a bit of a weird week this week. I've done 4 videos. I think I did Sunday, Wednesday,
Slacking.
Thursday, 3 videos for my channel, Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And Sunday and Wednesday's videos both have kind of been core audience only. Probably Wednesday's been like even half of the core audience, I would say, have watched Wednesday's video. I've changed the thumbnail like 4 times. Nothing. But then I did video last night, and this video was when One UI 7 came out, as we spoke about earlier. I literally sat down, recorded B-roll for half an hour, talked to the camera for 12 minutes, made the thumbnail in 5 minutes in Canva, and now it's a 1 out of 10, and it's getting 1,000 views, over 1,000 views an hour. So I think what's happening is if there's not a hot topic to talk about in the tech space and you're at our level of sort of creatorship, it's hard to cut through the mass market stuff unless you've got millions of subscribers and you get handed something to you on a plate. Then it's not going to be as easy to sort of cut through the mass amounts of views that sort of are out there at the moment. And I'm finding that's a bit of a challenge for me at the minute.
For sure.
Like that it's not necessarily that YouTube's algorithm has changed. It's just that the landscape of what's available to talk about has changed, and the amount of people contributing to that has also changed.
And to that point, Alex, I mean, carrying exactly what Daniel just saying there, I know you've got all these handsets to talk about with you, but again, as Daniel just said, unless they're hot topic devices, it's going to pick, YouTube's going to struggle to pick up on the traction. It's just not going to serve it to people.
And it's not just, I mean, we always talked about how, for example, YouTube has changed recently from what used to be a community first, right? Your videos would be notified, if people had the notification bell, they would get a notification, and the first few hours of your video would be incredible. Cool, and I experienced probably the tail end of that in 2021, 2022, where the first few hours was incredible. You saw this massive spike. It's very rare to see that unless like it's a banger and it's a hot topic and your video just had a really decent
hits the wave.
Everything. AVD is good, CTR is good, click-through ratio and average view duration. So if everything, if all the stars align, your video might get that spike. But what I'm seeing now is doesn't matter. Even like, of course, I'm competing with massive channels out there that is multi-million subscribers or whatever. So it's not fair to compare my performance with those guys. Is a silly thing to do. But having said that, there are videos that think, hang on, you are one of the few that have been involved in this launch or whatever. So your videos should be getting more attention. But because there's still this, they seem to be selecting, I don't know, a number out there. They'll send it to 100 people that are your core audience. And if it's not interesting to them, your video is almost destined to die.
Or they're using that as a yardstick kind of thing.
Well, that's always been there. That's always been the case.
Right, yeah.
But I'm finding it even more true now, even because, I'll take the Xiaomi phone. I did a review about 2-3 weeks ago. Spent exactly, it was the same sort of effort I did for the iPhone and Samsung phones. And I know my audience, they don't know Xiaomi. I didn't know Xiaomi. I never used Xiaomi before. So it's a new ground for me anyway. So for me, YouTube should be a little bit smarter in saying, okay, that's obviously something that this creator is doing that's new. So we shouldn't really be trying their current audience. They should look at the content. So right, that sort of content appeals to this sort of audience. They'll send it to them. So why waste time with my current audience if I'm clearly branching out, right? I think that's my main issue with it. And it's always been there, but it's now truer than ever because, if I don't publish an Apple or a Samsung video, it's likely to tank very quick. I mean, all my Mac Minis are doing really good. Whatever I post on those devices seem to touch on wood seem to do really well. But holy crap, if I do anything out of those little, if I deviate a little bit, I get punished, and it's painful.
I'm guessing it's a truism across all of our channels. It is just a generally quieter time. It goes through spells, right? We all get peaks and troughs. We get our event times, we get our release times. But at the moment, everything's just a little bit treading waterish, fair to say?
Yeah,
And I don't
had another.
I don't know.
I had
It's
another
hard for me
theory
because I was editing 4
about.
a.m., so it's hard for me to see
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, but that was we on particular embargo release. If you look across the broad, again, talking to the point of anything that's going to be headline news, yeah, we can. Anything can be reviewed and we can put out a video, but things that
A budget phone is not gonna catch the
Well,
attention as a new iPhone. Even
Yeah.
a budget iPhone would do better than a
And if you
budget
do an
anything.
FE video,
Yeah.
Daniel, if an FE video or something, I mean, does that get as much attention as the S25 Ultras?
my most viewed video is the S23 FE versus S23 video that I did a year and a half ago. It does if it goes. It does in search. It doesn't do well to my core audience, but whenever Google search gets a hold of it, absolutely sort of flies and sort of continues to pick up views. It's like very evergreen because people search for it a lot, and as long as you've got the catchy thumbnail, it works. What I was going to say about the sort of like Alex doing a budget Android phone, I think the amount of interest in will dictate how it does, and they'll most likely watch maybe where they might watch 10 to 20 S25 videos because the interest is high and they're going to source a lot of information. So your channel or my channel will get and become part of that 20 pool of videos that they watch. But if like what is it on I don't even know the name of it, on a phone that's 250 quid, they might watch Mr. Who's the Boss and maybe one other. And then I know enough about this now, and then there's no need to watch anymore.
Agree.
So I think that kind of plays a role in how the views get sort of spread out. It just goes by interest. And if Alex's core audience isn't interested in it, and then YouTube maybe knows in the back end that people are only watching one or two of these types of videos, then maybe they just don't serve yours out because people are finished with this topic. We can just kill it.
It's burnt, yeah.
It's burned.
Yeah, sad truth. I mean, that is the kind of pressure we will face, week by week by week, finding the content that we hope is going to catch that wave. But
I just wish. I mean, it's a constant thing for me. I just wish this, all-powerful algorithm behaved. They always say, "Oh, you should replace the word algorithm with audience." It's like
viewer.
Don't give me that bullshit because it's not right. A human being would see what's available and choose what's best for them, right? And I don't think the algorithm is doing that at the moment. I think I would really appreciate if it did. For example, if he read your comments, because if he had just a basic. I mean, this has been available for decades. A sentiment analysis on your comments to go right. It's not just the number of comments or the number of engagement that you're getting, but the quality and what people are saying to get a sense of people are really giving the best comments I ever get in some of these videos. And I was like, why is it not, being pushed to people who are like that audience? So there's definitely a very number focused thing. It's like, oh yeah, if you watch your AVD and your CTR, then you get views. But it should be more about the actual quality of the video. We are at a point in technology should be going into that level of depth.
It's interesting we're bringing this up because I actually 2 or 3 days ago I was thinking there's something a bit off, kind of like what you were saying, David. So I went back to look at my first ever video and I wanted to track how the views did. On the first 24 hours on that first video, 29 views. But then it's like within a few days it had picked up 3,000 or 4,000, and then within the first month it got to 30,000. And I was like, wow, YouTube found an audience, found a home for me in that first month with my first few videos. Because my first 3 videos were 30,000, 29,000, 10,000, 100 and something thousand.
You must be thinking this YouTube game is easy.
Especially as Mr. Beast had said, your first 100 videos will get no views. But I think what it kind of showed me was that when you're first starting out, YouTube will put you in front of people. But it's almost like as if you get bigger, YouTube will put you in front of the same people. But if that topic doesn't interest them, then YouTube will give up on you straight away. Whereas I feel like at the beginning, they're like, no, look, this person's starting out. We will work a little bit harder to find their audience, keep serving it. And then if they get clicks, then we can go further. But it's almost like once you've got there, it's like, well,
which makes it really hard for if you're trying to diversify your content, which is what I do every week, I want to do something slightly different. I don't want to do, because it's very easy to kind of fall into a box, right? And this video banged, so I'm just going to do every single video from now on is going to be this. And I could easily become a Mac Mini channel or an S25 Ultra channel or an iPhone channel because those videos work. But that's not, so I think as a small channel, relatively small channel, you have to pay the price a list of not being there for long enough, right? Because YouTube almost like wants you to be not just in a niche, but within a niche, be very specific target for you to have any chance of success. And
I guess for Daniel and I, we've got a strength and a weakness insofar as the algo's 100% going to know what we're going to talk about.
But then the interest will be up and down, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we haven't got the luxury of being able to diversify and go make a Xiaomi or an Honor video, whatever. We are very much in our channel, in our lane, which is great because people will each week will
why
know.
Not? Why not?
Well, I just pre-ordered a Switch 2, and I'm already thinking. Well, I think I'm going to try and find an angle that can link it to my channel. And I think the angle I've kind of swimming around right now is console game or handheld console versus smartphone. Which one should you game on? Like, if you've already got a phone, that's the angle I'm going for. One, because I think it might be very interesting to sort of cover, and then two, then it's a tax write-off.
And you really want a Switch 2.
And I have a Switch 2.
How much are they going for?
In Australia, they're $6.99, which is more than I paid for my PS5. But the problem I have with the PS5 is it's in a cupboard, whereas a Switch 2, I can game anywhere in the house or take it somewhere, and it's going to be much more convenient. If they bring out a new FIFA game for it, that's probably all I will play. Let's be real.
Are you getting hold of one, Alex?
I haven't given it any thought this week, to be honest. I know I've seen a few people pre-ordering. Yeah. I've tried Switch content. I've tried PS5 gaming content in general. Even though I love to cover it, never does anything on my channel. It's exactly that point where you try to diversify. It would do okay if I review a monitor and I play games on a monitor and show how that works. But it won't do okay if I just review, a gaming rig, for example, or a gaming console. Oh my gosh, the PS5 videos. I was pretty much one of the only creators at the time to get the PS5 on launch day. Got very lucky. I was just at work in a meeting, just kept trying on Amazon to get it, and eventually got it. And it's did a video as quickly as possible, and it did nothing. And it was one of those, oh my gosh, after all that, and people are like, how did you get it? It's like, so sometimes it's just you just have to, you are at the mercy of the algorithm, and you don't know why. Even if you like that rare for you to have a content out there, it might still not do well. So yeah, it's tricky.
I mean, as much as I'd love to chat with you two all day, I've got to go and look at lenses for my Canon 90D, so I've got things to be doing, I've got things to put in carts and lust after. I think Alex,
I recommended a ZV1, by the way, which I'd say probably, if you're going to look at lenses.
Back to the camera conversation.
Yeah.
Have you only got one camera? Have you thought about a second one for B-roll to sort of separate?
Yeah, because then it's whether I go the case of buying another 90D and just stick with what I've got, or begin to think, okay, maybe think about upgrading this to another. Only Canon because I kind of understand the menus, got a bit of an idea of it.
It's very easy. It takes a day to learn it. It's not. I would definitely strongly recommend look at the ZV1, maybe sell your Canon, put that towards a new system, because I just think for content creation,
Sony's got. It's so simple.
Really?
It's just made for it.
Yeah, they really have. It's like, if you liken it's like how MacBooks and Macs are the creators
kind of thing.
Computer. I think the Sony cameras are basically like the creators' camera.
I know that kind of 90% of people I speak to are all on Sony. I get that. There's the odd few that still work in Audition and shoot on Canon, and it's all Final Cut and Sony pretty much.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about Canon's like out of the box sort of. Hang on, someone's delivering something here. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay, I think we're almost at the wrap point anyway. I think, aren't we? Because are you traveling this weekend? Did you say, Daniel?
I got my son's got a football carnival tomorrow. 5 football games, an hour down south. So we got to leave at like 7 o'clock in the morning to get there.
Ouch.
And then next week he's at another football tournament, and it's school holidays at the moment as well. So it's just a lot going on.
All hands on.
The world all hands on at the moment.
And while we've lost our boy Alex, I think... Oh, he's back. He's back. I was about to make your excuses. Am I right in thinking that you're going to be on holiday when we do our next pod? I'm just thinking, letting the audience know in advance. So, Daniel, possibly it could be you and I?
I think we might get Samuel Nam
audio. Oh, there we go.
I think I might get Samuel Nam in next week. Or next fortnight, sorry. So, because he was going to be this week, but he had other commitments. So he wants to come in a fortnight's time.
Okay. Sounds good. So there you go. There's a little teaser of what to expect in 2 weeks' time. Alex will be getting his beach body out in Brazil.
I'd love to join you guys, but I'll be sipping on caipirinhas.
You've earned it. Oh, are you going to pre-record a bunch of stuff while you're away and have it all ready to upload, or are you just going to have a break from YouTube altogether?
I'll always be recording stuff, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to publish anything. I would love to have like 3 or 4 videos ready to go, but I'm not that organized. I mean, it's just crazy. I can't do it.
So there you go, a little taste of what you can expect in 2 weeks' time. It sounds like there'll be 3 of us, just not the same 3. As ever, watch out
the socials for an announcement I'll be making over the weekend, probably for a live stream next week with Xiaomi, basically. So it'll be cool.
Nice.
Yeah, you might be able to join a live stream where I'll be there as the brand ambassador. Just cool.
Brand ambassador. Get our boy, brand ambassador. Lewis Hamilton, Alex, all these brand ambassadors out there. Yeah, look out for that live stream then with Xiaomi and Alex. That's on, what day did you say? Oh, can't we know yet?
It'll be on Monday and Tuesday, but I'll announce it on my Insta and on the community post here.
Perfect. So, lovely. Well, we will be back in 2 weeks' time. Thank you, as ever, for watching, listening, subscribing, viewing, commenting, all of that good stuff. And it's fun as ever. And yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Daniel, me, and possibly Sam.
Nice one, guys. Cheers.
See you soon. Cheers. Bye.